Ladies and gentlemen, the Anonymous Librarian is proud to present an extract from Kringe by Deleen Mattia. Let us say I fought a one-man war and lost, he admitted before cynically adding, a war that never existed, over things that never existed. Ladies and gentlemen, miscreants, mollifiers, I am the Anonymous Librarian. You can call me L, and welcome to the show, another weekly reading update, or reading update for the week, however you want to say it. The phrasing is not that important. Actually, the phrasing is the most important part. That's where writing comes in, it's the phrasing. That's the big difference maker. That's the difference maker between the good and the great. Between the not so good and the decent. Whatever. So what have I been? I don't feel like fighting you today. I just don't have it in me to fight with you today. So let's try and move along and have a good time. No, I'm not in the educational mood. So let's go where we always start, with my reading updates for the week for the comics and manga. And yeah, as I said last week, I was gonna finish Saga Volume 5. Oh, this thing is so heavy. And as always, like I already said, Saga, awesome. It's still awesome. I love it. Crazy stuff happening. there was one crazy panel in here. They're just like, it's sort of like, oh, and then you laugh your ass off. Great work. Brian Kidd won. Fiona sequels, they do no wrong. And then I picked up a manga, Yokohama Kadashi Kiko Deluxe Edition 1. And it seems like I'll really a quiet cup of coffee as the world winds down. It is, as I've said before, it's basically like a dystopian future, but the people are going on. It's kind of like a whimsical dystopian future. Lifeline. And our main character is a robot. That is very human. I mean, the robots even have to eat food in this universe. Fascinating. This is adorable. It is very adorable and whimsical. And yeah, I said, one of my updates, I said it was like snuggling under a warm blanket. I'm it's kind of showing the beauty in the world, even when the world is already passing by. It still shows the beauty that there is and everything you can find. I'm having a great time with this, and I will finish it pretty soon. I think 3 more days, then I'll be done with Yokohama Kadashi Kiko. It's by Hitoshi Ashinano. And Hitoshi Ashinano, well done. Oh, the last thing I want to add is that at times it almost feels like it's kind of, at times the drawings are exceptionally beautiful, and other times they appear almost like those cartoons strips you'd find in old magazines. But it never feels disconnected. It blends itself very well together, and it does give that feeling. It's like one of those comic strips, but with way more storytelling and heart in it. Amazing. I really am enjoying it. After that I will pick up a reread for me, and the first one for the month of July. If you watch my TBR, you'd know 100 Bullets Book 1. I'll be picking up. This is a reread for me, but I want to get into the whole 100 Bullets saga, read all of it. So I decided now I'll start where I finished off last time. I'll not finish off. I'll start again from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, that is it for the comics and the manga. Let's move on to my stuff is mixed up here. Let's move on to the non-fiction. For some reason the Mundane Fiction is above the non-fiction, which it shouldn't be. Now you have to get to your non-fiction first. Yeah. Ooh, my things are in disarray. Sorry about that. Yeah. Let us move on to the non-fiction. Non-fiction. I started and I finished this week Christopher Hitchens' The Missionary Position. It's a very short book. It's like 100 pages and it's really thick written, so yeah. The Missionary Position. Mother Teresa in theory and in practice. Yeah, it kind of goes on like in some maybe more hypocritical statements around Mother Teresa, things that like people might naively believe, and like a little bit of scandals and stuff like that. It is a fascinating read, and Hitchens never. This is a reread, and I want to see if I kind of took it wrong the first time. No, but it was good for a refresher and like the fascinating stuff that she would of somebody as in the limelight as this to be seen as such a wonderful person as Mother Teresa, and then how that the stuff doesn't quite jive and the statements don't. There's a lot of hypocrisy and stuff like that in. But Christopher Hitchens never feels like he's trying to be mean spirited to Mother Teresa, which it kind of sounded like it was going to be. No, instead it seems like he's just being fair and saying, oh, this does not track, this does not track, this does not track, this is something that happened and she never addressed this, or yeah, and it's surprising. It is, yeah. It's a great read and it's a fast read and Richards is a great writer, so it is fascinating and if, like yeah, and I'm sure some people will get angry reading it. That's what it is. I mean, like one of the things, a fascinating thing, like Mother Teresa in one of her interviews said between Galileo and the Spanish Inquisition or the Catholic Inquisition, she would have chosen the side of the church authorities. Oh, which is crazy. Which is crazy. She would have chosen the church authorities over Galileo. So the only thing he did was prove something about the universe. Yeah, insane. That's. I mean, I know seriously. I know fundamentally Christian people that would not agree with that. That would like, no, there's no way you can do something like that. So that was a crazy one. Wonder if she believed that throughout or what. Yeah. But seriously, if you just want a dive into somebody that was in the limelight, but was the lens was very skewed on him and very just this is a wonderful person and everything. This does do a good job of telling the other side. Alright, so well, I finished that yesterday. So today I will be picking up and starting my first non-fiction read for the month of July. Yeah, I'm getting good. And it is a Jane Austen a biography by Elizabeth Jenkins. I am excited. I thought, yeah, this looks like a very small book. I even got two books for my non-fictions. So I'm like, oh, this is a very small book. I should go for it fast. The writing is kind of small in here. Oh, my bookmark was full up. Oh, that's surprising. So we'll see. But I am really excited to learn more about Jane Austen. And from what I understand, this is kind of like it's a biography written kind of like as a love letter. It's not really meant to be scandalized or something like that. It's just this was who she was, this was what she influence was and everything. Really excited to finally get into that. And that is it for the non-fiction. Let's move on to the mundane fiction. Yep. I did finish Steven Erickson's This Road Awakens. I'm not gonna add any more to it than I've already said. And I poured my heart out. The only thing I'll say is I was left hollowed out. I was hollow inside after I finished this. I felt hollow after finishing this book. So yeah, and this is one of those when you're done there, you have to sit for. You can't just go pick up another book and start reading. You have to sit for a while with processing. Definitely one of those books. After you read it, you have to process it. Yeah. Then I moved on from This River Awakens. I moved on to the one I read from at the beginning, and it's my first read as my first Mundane Fiction read for the month of July. Kringe and a Bos by Nadine Mathieu. This book, so obviously I had to translate this section because I'm reading it in Afrikaans. I translated that section I read at the beginning. This book is available in English under the name Circles in a Forest, and the author is Nadine Mathieu. It's just a really good coming of age. It's a coming of age story on one side, but then you see like a kid growing up, but you also see flashing back between that and when he's an adult, and yeah, and he's kind of looking back on his life and how he kind of gets disillusioned with the world and the world he lives in and everything like that, and like also like how he grows up in a small forest as part of woodcutters assembly, what family of woodcutters, and then he's just burgeoning into this bigger world. I am like 64 pages of the 300. Basically, is 300 pages. I'm like 60 pages, just over 60 pages in. I am really enjoying it. It is hitting me on an emotional level. The main character reminds me a lot of myself at times. I was not, but yeah. So that it's very identifying. So I'm getting emotional, and I kind of see why I didn't. I think because when I was 18 and we had to read this in school, I didn't want to read something where a guy was kind of like me to some degree, or and I wouldn't have been able to see it at that point. So no, no enjoying it. I'm really. This is really. This is if you ever want to pick up a South African author's book and something that maybe was first written Afrikaans and translated, this will be my recommendation at the moment. Kringe and a boss. It's amazing and it's really beautiful and just a beautiful family story that's heartache and everything. Yeah, and the elephants are awesome. And Oakwood, the main elephant, or it's old foot if I have to translate it. Cool. That's it for the mundane fiction. Let's move on to the sci-fi and fantasy. I did finish Aria of the Fallen by Andrea Larish. And yeah, nothing more really to add from what I said last week. It kind of ended up kind of what I said. It is a power fantasy book, and for me, one of the big flaws usually with power fantasies is unless they try and subvert it, is to make it to make the fantasy not break down. You have to make the villains very villainy and one dimensional and like you don't even like this one doesn't even you only hear about them. You never introduced to them really. They like just blank faces. And it does undermine it just too it makes the world too simplistic, and I've never been one for enjoying simplistic work, so this is power fantasies have never been my favorite thing. Yeah, especially not if it doesn't even try and subvert it, like because the moment you do that you can justify any horrible act that your main character do without any like compromise or like, and it's like yeah, some people are gonna love stuff like this. I know a lot of people love stuff like this. It's just not for me. But I will say, Andrea is a good writer. She doesn't use unnecessary words like or mostly not here and there. You said okay, you didn't need to over explain that. You could think that, but in general, it's not. The writing is beautiful. It's beautiful, clean. It's effective and it's clean and it's direct. It's not wasting your time. It's not oversaturating you with adverbs and stuff like that. The spicy scene wasn't bad at all. That was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. But also, it didn't overstay its welcome. It was a good spicy scene, but it didn't take 20 pages to tell the spice, which I like, yeah. Get to the point. Uh, yeah, so Next up, from there on, I moved on and I picked up Solo Leveling Volume 4. And there's halfway in this is where the second season of Solo Leveling, the anime, ends. And that's awesome because this means for the first time, oh, never mind that is just an awesome section, and to read it in the book was also great. And it's the raid on Jeju Island, which is awesome. I love it. It's crazy and manipulative and everything's cool there. It's just one of those mind blowing words. The second part of it deals more in and you can kind of see why the show ended there and not at the end of this, because this is half like yeah, this should be the start of the new season for sure. But it broadens the world more. It looks a little bit more what's going on in the rest of the world. It brings in a lot more of America and the Americans Hunters Associations. and what they are, and this unique character brought in from there that has a very unique ability. And then it's also Jinwoo having to deal with the fact that he's now very famous. And we also get him in Haiyin Cha. I think that's how you say it. Please don't even correct me. Don't even try and correct me because I'm probably going to get it wrong again. But there's like some more interactions between them and a fascinating situation there that takes place. But this book also like it ends on like, okay, there's like two big things about to happen, just to get you excited for the 5th volume. And yes, it did that. It got me excited. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy like in learning more, like in some small revelations. But really, like at this point, any answers just create more questions. It feels very much like the what Lost used to do and stuff like that. Is what is going on actually here? What is the mystery behind it? And then you get these tidbits in you that are just excited. So yeah, I can't wait to get to the next one. I've been enjoying Solo Leveling. And I was wondering, am I still going to enjoy it when I'm past the anime and I don't have those images? Yes, I'm still enjoying it. They do paint a vivid picture. Since I finished that yesterday, so now I can pick up what am I going to read for the week. I'm actually also starting my fantasy read for the month of July, so a little bit early. Awesome. It will be, no surprise, A Feast for Crows by George R. R. Martin. I'm just excited to get back to this world. Yeah. And it's a big boy, and it's probably gonna take me. It's gonna take me most of the month, not the whole month. So that's why this might be just the only fancy book I read in the whole month. But who cannot be excited for A Feast of Crows? I know I'm very excited. So that is it. There I am done. That was my reading update for this week. Did I seem a little less infused? Maybe it was just a long week. I had to do some traveling and stuff like that. And I want to get back to some reading. It is my Sunday. You know, Sunday is my reading day, and I love it. So let me go there. Let me do that. I am the Anonymous Librarian. You can call me Al. If you don't call me at all, that's fine. You can pretend leave a comment, just a quick one, fast one. I will reply. I promise I will reply. I don't promise that I will be nice when I reply to you, but I will reply to you. Okay? And then, you know what? Leave a like, subscribe, notifications on, share with the whole world. Why not? Everybody needs some education in their life. Everybody needs me. Everybody needs a genius like me to talk to them about literature. Are we clear? Do you understand that? Good. Bye. Bye. Bye.